This is the 10th year of Pokemon Go and the 30th year of Pokemon, and that means a few things. A new generation, brand new Megas, and a load of new Pokemon coming to Pokemon Go. So today, let's attempt, as we always do, to predict which new Pokemon we will see in the year 2026. Starting with what I believe to be almost a guarantee coming to Pokemon Go this year, it has to Mega Mewtwo X and or Mega Mewtwo Y. Now, I feel like every year since these have been inside of one of those anniversary screens, which you can see on screen right now, every year since then, we've been predicting these will come out, and they never have. So I hope this year is the year that we see it, because we have Mewtwo, we have Shadow Mewtwo, we have Shadow Shiny Mewtwo, like we've got it. It's been here forever. It is about time for Mega Mewtwo. And I think the reason why we're going to end up seeing Mega Mewtwo this year is because this year is going to be all about Mega Pokemon. In the Pokemon main series franchise, Mega Pokemon are back. There are new Mega Pokemon that have been announced, which we'll talk about in today's video. And in the Pokemon trading card game, the new era, which is basically an era consists of a bunch of sets, and an era typically lasts a year, 2 years. The new era is called Mega Evolution, and they brought Mega Pokemon back to Pokemon cards for the first time in 10 years? So all of Pokemon is going to see a lot of Mega stuff in 2026, and I think it will be no different for Pokemon Go. And what better, what more hyped, what more exciting Mega Pokemon to bring to Pokemon Go to celebrate 10 years than Mega Mewtwo X and Y, which are some of the most overpowered, amazing Mega Pokemon in the game, and they are in the game. We've had the data for Mega Mewtwo X and Y for kind of a while now in Pokemon Go, and we've been able to predict what they might be like in-game, and maybe this is the year that we finally see it. It's important to note that Shadow Mewtwo is currently the #1 overall Psychic type in the game. Regular Mewtwo is, I think, the 3rd best overall Psychic type. So when Mega Mewtwo X or Y come out, they will be the #1 Psychic type probably of all time in Pokemon Go. And again, we have a little bit of data on these guys. Mega Mewtwo Y is going to be a pure Psychic type legendary, and it's my favorite of the two. I think it looks so cool, and it's going to max out at an insane 7,690 CP. Yes, this thing is going to be an absolute monster. Also, its attack stat is 426, which just know that that is insane. I mean, the attack bar is quite literally maxed out, which is crazy. And the defense stat, though, isn't that high. It's only 235. Or I'm sorry, the defense is 229, rather. So it's pretty tanky. It's got insane attack, which means it's going to do an absolutely ridiculous amount of damage. And it's going to be nearly 7,700 CP. So you'll be able to use Mega Mewtwo Y against any legendary in any raid against anything, and it's going to work very well, even if it's not super effective, just because it's so powerful. So that's Mega Mewtwo Y. We also have Mega Mewtwo X, which I think looks a little goofy. Its feet look like hands, but it's fine. Mega Mewtwo X is also going to be very high in CP, a little bit lower than Y. It's going to be 7,339, and its attack stat is going to be a little bit lower than Y as well at 412. Its defense, though, also lower. It's basically just like a worse version of Mega Mewtwo Y. But the cool thing about Mega Mewtwo X is that it is a dual Psychic and Fighting type Pokemon. So, while Mega Mewtwo Y will be the best Psychic type Pokemon overall, Mega Mewtwo X will most likely be the 2nd best Psychic and the #1 Fighting type probably until the end of time, just because this thing is insane. So these two Pokemon will completely dominate the meta in Pokemon Go when they're released, and again, there is just not a better year to have something that exciting, that cool, and that fun come to Pokemon Go. Not to mention, Mewtwo always comes back at least once a year in the game. So if they bring out the Mega Pokemon, it will come back in Mega Raids, and that's just like an excuse for Pokemon Go to bring the biggest cash cow legendary of all time, Mewtwo, back to Pokemon Go. Another thing that I'm going to predict, and you'll see in today's video, is that this is going to be a very expensive year in Pokemon Go. Remember that last year in 2025, Niantic, who were the original developers of Pokemon Go, sold the game to a new company called Scopely, and Scopely spent $4 billion to acquire Pokemon Go, and they're going to work very hard to make their money back. And they've been doing that, and we've all felt it. It's been very expensive in Pokemon Go lately, and there's always more reasons to spend on things. Granted, the game's been very fun. They've been fixing a lot of bugs and adding a lot of new cool features. So that's good. They're putting the money to work, which is great. But I think that a lot of the big new exciting Pokemon we'll see in 2026, which you'll see in today's video, I think a lot of them will be premium, which means they'll either be behind paywalls or they'll be in raids. Okay, next, new Mega Pokemon. There has been a huge list of new Mega Pokemon that have been revealed, and I think that we're going to see a handful of them. I don't think we're going to see all of them. But here's an idea of all of the new Mega Pokemon. Mega Raichu X and Mega Raichu Y, Mega Clefable, Mega Victreebel, Mega Starmie, Mega Dragonite, Mega Meganium, Mega Feraligatr, Mega Skarmory, Mega Chimecho, Mega Absol Z, Mega Staraptor, Mega Garchomp Z, that's gonna be insane, Mega Lucario Z, Mega Frostlass, Mega Heatran, Mega Darkrai, wow, Mega Embror, Mega Excadrill, Mega Solipede, Mega Scrafty, Mega Electros, Mega Chandelure, Golurk, Mega Chestnut, Mega Delphox, Greninja, oh my god, Mega Greninja, Mega Pyroar, Floette, Meowstic, Malamar, Barbanachel, Dragalge, Hawlucha, Zygarde, Mega Zygarde, Crabdominal, Golisopod, Drampa, Magearna, Mega Zeraora, wow, Mega Phalanx, Scovillion, Glamora, and then there's the Mega Tatsugiri, 3 different forms, and Mega Baxcalibur. These are insane new Mega Pokemon, and I definitely think that we're going to see some of them released in Pokemon Go throughout the year. Now, which ones do I think we're actually going to see in game? I'm not quite sure. I will tell you the ones that I'm most excited for and I cannot wait for. Mega Dragonite, I hope we see that this year. Dragonite, it is like one of the, Shadow Dragonite at least, is one of the best Dragon-type attackers in Pokemon Go. So Mega Dragonite will be the best Dragon-type attacker, most likely. It's going to be insane and a really, really cool Pokemon. Also, Lucario is great. Mega Lucario is one of the best fighting types. Mega Lucario Z, I'm sure would be even better, unless it's a completely different typing. Oh wait, no, it's not. We have the typing for it. Never mind. It's fighting and steel, so it's also going to be one of the best steel type attackers, most likely. And I'll make a video in a couple of weeks, basically breaking down each and every one of these Mega and going into more detail about them. But I definitely expect at least 3 of the new Megas coming to Pokemon Go from this list, because there are a couple we still don't have in game, like Mewtwo and some of those guys. So I think we're going to see a lot of these new Megas. Again, this year is all about Mega Pokemon in the Pokemon like world in general, like beyond Pokemon Go. So we'll probably see that reflected in our game. And the nice thing, I guess, for Scopely is that Mega Pokemon, you have to catch them in raids. So, you know, this is going to help make Pokemon Go more money, and I'm sure they'll love that. So expect some of these. In my personal opinion, I think we're going to see one very cool one, and then we're going to see a couple of very mid ones. Mid ones being like the starters, like Mega Delphox and random ones like that. Although Greninja would be very cool to see. So I think we're going to see starters first, and then we might see something cool like a Mega Dragonite later on in the year, or Mega Lucario Z, which would be so sick. Get ready for those. And again, I'll make a video in the future breaking all of them down, so make sure you're subscribed. Next prediction, yes, I'm making it once again this year, Arceus. Arceus has been in the game files for kind of a long time now. It's been teased for a long time now. And listen, man, it is the 10th year of Pokemon Go. It is time we get Arceus. I think this is going to be the big thing for the 10-year anniversary, or for Go Fest or something. I just cannot think of a better way to celebrate 10 years of Pokemon Go. This is the only time we're ever going to celebrate double digits. Like the first ever, the only time we're going to celebrate the first time of getting into double digits. 10 years is a big milestone for a video game. And Arceus is the god of all Pokemon. This is the best year. Now, the big thing about Arceus is that we do have its in-game stats, and we know how much CP it's going to be. It has a bunch of different forms. In the main series games, you can change its typing with elemental plates, which are all 18. You can have all 18 typings, by the way. So how Arceus will work in Pokemon Go when released, we just continue to speculate on that. But what we do know is that it's going to have a max CP of 4,510. It's going to be a pretty big beast. The thing, though, its attack, defense, and stamina are like, it's basically, its other stats aren't like spectacular. They're not terrible, but they're not insane. So it might not be the most useful Pokemon, but the cool thing about it is that it's going to be a 4,500 CP monster, and you will most likely be able to change its forms. Theoretically, the cool thing with Arceus, and how I hope it's going to work when released in Pokemon Go, is that using a bunch of Stardust and Arceus Candy, you can change its forms to whatever you need it to be whenever you're battling. So if you need a great dragon type, you can change its form to a dragon type, which maybe affects its moves, and then it's the best dragon type in your account. Or if you need a good bug type, you can change it to bug or fire or whatever. I hope it's going to be like a Swiss Army knife essentially in Pokemon Go, and be kind of like a one Pokemon you need for everything. But I don't know. I honestly feel like when Arceus comes out, it will probably be released as part of Go Fest, as part of like a Masterwork research, in some way where we all only get one single encounter and one single Arceus, as I think how it's going to be released. But again, I do think that will be this year. Next up, I predicted this last year, and I guess maybe we were kind of right with some of our predictions, but I will predict it once again this year. Paradox Pokemon, which were released in Scarlet and Violet. And last year we did see the release of Pokemon that are like alongside the Paradox Pokemon, which are the Paldean Tauros, we have King Gambit, we have Annihilape, we have Toedscool and Toedscruel as well, right? Those were released. So we have cool Pokemon like that, again, were brought out alongside the Paradox Pokemon, but we don't quite have the Paradox Pokemon yet. And the Paradox Pokemon are Great Tusk, Brute Bonnet, Sandy Shocks, Screamtail, Fluttermane, Slitherwing, Roaring Moon, which is my favorite, Iron Treads, Iron Moth, Iron Hands, Iron Jugulus, Iron Thorns, Iron Bundle, and Iron Valiant. I definitely think we're going to see these Pokemon as a part of some sort of special raid system, whether they're literally released in the Dynamax raids or Gigantamax raids, or they have their own like Paradox raid system. These will be raid Pokemon. Some of them are I guess they're not legendary, but like they're Paradox. They're legendary enough. These will most likely be raid Pokemon. They're most likely going to be very, very cool. They might have some sort of effects. Like I would love to have adventure effects along with each and every one of these, which gives them like something, like makes them useful in game, or some, I don't know. I think they're going to have a little something special to them. I think they're going to be raid Pokemon, so they might be kind of expensive to grind, but I think they're going to be very, very cool. And we already saw the release in 2025 of Pokemon that are, you know, that were released alongside these. So I think in 2026, this year is when we're going to actually see the like real Paradox Pokemon. Fingers crossed for Roaring Moon. I'm making some bold predictions this year, and I'm going to make another one, Armored Mewtwo. This is the most rare Pokemon that has ever been released, one of the most rares, and definitely one of the most sought after ever. Armored Mewtwo released back in July of 2019 to promote the Mewtwo Strikes Back movie, which was on, what, like Netflix? So the reason why it never came back is because it only came out to promote a movie. You only promote a movie once, you know? So they never brought it back. It was a promotional Pokemon. Now, it did come back during Pokemon Day of February 2020. So technically it was released twice, but the second time it was released was very, very quick, and we have literally not seen it in 6 years. So this would be a really great year to bring Armored Mewtwo back for the first time in 6 years. And, you know, what would most likely happen is they would bring it back for a weekend. It would probably be a raid weekend because this was available in raids. Maybe we get the shiny, like we get shiny Armored Mewtwo in raids for like 3 hours or for like a full 24 hours. Everybody goes absolutely crazy for it, and then we don't see it again for another 5, 6, 10 years, is what I think will happen. Now, the big thing, though, is that Armored Mewtwo, because of its moves and stats, it is not that great. It's not very meta-relevant. Regular Mewtwo is way more powerful and meta-relevant than Armored Mewtwo. Armored Mewtwo is purely like an aesthetic catch. It's like just something for the collection. But if it comes back, it's on. I'm spending all my money on raid passes, and we are completely grinding Armored Mewtwo to the end. So fingers crossed, but I definitely think we'll see that back this year for like a raid day, and maybe we see the shiny. I will also predict that we see clone Pokemon come back for that. They were also last seen in 2020 to like coincide with Pokemon Day and the release of the Mewtwo Strikes Back movie. So they only came out once and they never came back, and they are very, very cool. I have some cool ones in my account, and everybody always asks what those are. So the clone Pokemon, really cool. Again, I think that what we're going to see this year for the 10-year anniversary, I think we're going to see a year full of amazing events. I don't think they're going to like cheap out on us. What we most likely will see is a raid day that will have Armored Mewtwo, hopefully shiny Armored Mewtwo, and we'll have clone Charizard, Venusaur, and Blastoise in raids too. So we'll have a bunch of clone and Armored Mewtwo raids for one day. We're all going to spend all our money on it, and then we won't see them again for another 5 years. So I think that the clone Pokemon will also kind of happen like that too. Something we can guarantee that we're going to see this year is a million new costume Pokemon, specifically costume Pikachu. Now, I think there is going to be a very specific version of costume Pikachu that we will see for 10 years, and it's going to be the balloon Pikachu, which I think is one of the more fun costumes. When the 5-year anniversary happened, it's insane that the 5-year anniversary was 5 years. It's just crazy we've been doing this for 10 years. Isn't that insane? 10 years. So 5 years ago, right, for the 5th anniversary of Pokemon GO, crazy to say that, we had a balloon Pikachu with a 5 balloon. So I think it's pretty easy to predict that for 10 years of Pokemon GO, we're going to have a balloon Pikachu with a 10 balloon. So this is kind of cool. Now, listen, I came from the Clash of Clans community before Pokemon GO, And you can tell how OG somebody is by the trees that spawn and that are decorated on someone's Clash of Clans base. For example, Christmas, the first ever Christmas for Clash of Clans, there was a specific version of a tree. Second Christmas, there was a different tree, right? And people collected these like things on their maps. Pokemon Go is the same way, to where like you're going to have specific Pokemon that released at specific milestones to celebrate those milestones. And, you know, we have costumes and backgrounds and location tags and all those kind of things to like mark rarity and mark time inside our accounts. These Pikachu, the 5th year anniversary and the 10th year anniversary, like these balloon Pikachu that quite literally mark the age of the game, are going to be very cool, very collectible. And even though it's just, I know it's another costume Pikachu and we're all like kind of burnt out of costume Pikachu, getting the 10-year anniversary shiny with the balloon is going to be probably one of the coolest catches in your account of all time. So I think that is well worth the hunt, and I can pretty much guarantee we'll see that this year. I also think we're going to see the Generation 9 legendaries, Koraidon and Miraidon. I know we predicted this for 2025. We ended up not seeing these guys, but I definitely think we will have them. And the team here at Mystic 7 had a very cool idea. I think this was Corey or Reese, had a very cool idea of how these Pokemon might work. Now, I will explain that in a second, but for starters, we do have their data in Pokemon Go. We know what they're going to be and what their CP is going to be. Koraidon, for example, will be a dual fighting and dragon type legendary, so it's going to be very useful with a max CP of 4,491. It's going to be big, it's going to be useful, it's going to be pretty cool, so that's great. And then Miraidon will be an electric dragon legendary type, also is going to be very useful with the same 4491 CP. I do think we're going to see these Pokemon released at the same time, which is I think how Zamazenta and Zacian happened, right? Like it was roughly around the same time. So I think that, and again, the team at Mystic 7 had a cool prediction. We think that these Pokemon will be released with adventure effects, and here's how this could work. Koraidon might have an adventure effect that, when used, would let you spawn Paradox Pokemon for a limited amount of time. See, the thing about Paradox Pokemon in the main series games, even though I think they're going to be released in raids just because I think Pokemon wants to make their money, or Scopely, rather. But I think the thing about, well, I know the thing about Paradox Pokemon is that they have, like future and past Paradox Pokemon, is that they spawn in the wild. They spawn in the wild in the main series Pokemon games. So it would make sense for them to spawn in the wild in Pokemon Go. And it would be very cool, and it would still make, you know, I guess it would still make Scopely money if the way to spawn them was by catching a Koraidon in a raid, battling even more Koraidon raids and spending your money on the raid passes to get the legendaries, and then using that legendary candy to activate an adventure effect that worked like an incense and spawned these Paradox Pokemon on your incense, which is something we already see with, I think it's the Dawn Wings and Duskmane Necrozma. They have adventure effects that spawn either like nighttime or daytime Pokemon. Those adventure effects kind of suck because they're kind of boring and the spawns are kind of boring. But if Koraidon and Miraidon spawned Paradox Pokemon, past and future Paradox Pokemon, and those Pokemon are cool, by the way, like Roaring Moon and Tyranitar, like that would be insane and so worth the candy and so worth the raids. So I really hope we see those two released in Pokemon Go, and I really hope we see them released with a very cool adventure effect. Now, it might happen kind of like how, I don't know, like we might get these Pokemon and then next year get the adventure effect for them if that ever happens, but I do think that could be a very fun way to introduce both of these guys into the game and the Paradox Pokemon, because they're all technically part of the same generation. Other legendaries we might end up seeing in-game this year are the Ruinous Quartet, I think they're called. This is Scarlet and Violet legendaries. Scarlet and Violet legendaries, which are Chen Pao, Wo Chen, Ting Lu, and Chi Yu. We do have their game data in Pokemon Go, and we have a prediction on how they might work. The game data, though, these Pokemon will actually be pretty useful. Chen Pao will be a dark and ice-type legendary Pokemon, which is very cool, with a max CP of 3,764, so can definitely expect some use out of that. Wo Chen will be a dark and grass-type Pokemon with a max CP of 3,320, so that might be useful too. Ting Lu will be a ground and dark-type Pokemon with a 3,994 max CP, definitely should be useful with that. And then Chi Yu will be dark and fire with a 3908 max CP. So these will be some pretty good legendaries, and we think they might be released in a very cool way. If we all remember, the routes feature in Pokemon Go is very useful because it gives you the Zygarde cells, which allow you to like change the Zygarde form so you can make your Zygarde good. Well, nobody really cares about that. Or the people that do probably already have their Zygardes finished, and like the only other incentive to use routes is Mateo. But one cool thing they did was last year, and maybe even in 2024, is spawn specific Pokemon and specific shinies only on routes, which was during, I think, the Go Wild area event. So what could be cool, because in the main Pokemon Scarlet and Violet games, in order to get these legendaries, you have to locate and pull 32 hidden colored ominous stakes that are scattered throughout the Paldea region. So you kind of have to go on a route, go on a journey to find these in the main series games. So it would make a lot of sense to go on a route and find them in Pokemon Go. It'd be kind of cool if these Pokemon were unlockable either by going on a specific amount of routes, or they just kind of like how the Galarian legendary birds will just randomly spawn on your daily incense. These Quartet legendaries maybe would just randomly spawn on routes, which would make routes worth doing if you can get meta-relevant legendary spawns. That would be so, so cool. And it would kind of give us a reason to have Master Balls, right? Because we've had a bunch of Master Balls come out. Mostly everybody has their legendary Galarian birds. So really there's no reason to use a Master Ball anymore if you have your Galarian legendaries. These, though, would spawn on routes, they would spawn in the wild, they would have very low catch rates, it would be impossible to get them, just like the birds, and it would give us all 4 more reasons to use our Master Balls. Would be a very, very cool thing to see in game. Fingers crossed we see it this year, because the routes feature definitely needs some love. 3 other legendary Pokemon that I honestly, unfortunately, think we'll see this year, just because I think we're going to get some really cool stuff this year. And I think that we're going to get some really, really maybe lame stuff this year to kind of balance out that. So there's these 3 mythical Pokemon that were in the Teal Mask DLC. And we already do have some Pokemon in Pokemon Go from the Teal Mask, like kind of era thingy, the DLC, like Sinistcha. So there's 3 mythicals, Okidogi, Munkidori, and Fezandipiti, that we might see come to Pokemon Go. Now, we do have the game data for these. We know what they'll be. Okidogi will be a poison and fighting type Pokemon with a 3376 max CP. Might be kind of useful. Munkidori will be a psychic poison type with a 3321 max CP. Again, maybe kind of useful. And Fezandipiti will be another, again, these are all, Fezandipiti will be a legendary, not a mythical, a legendary with a fairy and poison type with a 2750 max CP. So maybe useful. These are all legendaries. I'm sorry, I said mythical. These are legendary, 3 legendary Pokemon. So how do we think these might come to Pokemon Go? I mean, these just might come to raids. Honestly, I think would just be like the most, it would just make a lot of sense. They would come to raids, non-shiny first. I don't think they're very exciting legendaries. They definitely weren't that hyped up at all, ever. And I think they're going to come to raids. I think we're all going to be like, okay, new legendary, sure. And then they're going to come back as shiny, and we're going to be like, okay, maybe. So, I don't know. I think we're going to have a balance of exciting things and like boring things, and I think those might be something boring that we see this year. And of course, this year, we can expect Generation 10 in Pokemon, in the main series Pokemon games. Gen 10 is coming out this year, which is so, so cool. And it's more than likely going to be announced in February, on February 27th on Pokemon Day. And we'll probably end up seeing Gen 10 in Pokemon Go later on in the year when like the main series game releases. Typically when a main series game and a new generation releases, we get something in Pokemon Go to help promote the new game. So we'll probably end up seeing something in Pokemon Go from Gen 10. We're hoping we see starters. Nobody knows what the starters are going to be like, and I think we will see some come to Pokemon Go in 2026. We can almost guarantee that. And the last big Pokemon that I want to predict is Zeraora, which is another Pokemon that we have in the game files that could be released at any time. It is a mythical Pokemon, and I think it's going to be one of those Pokemon that we all only get one of. And the cool thing with Zeraora is that it has a new Mega form that was recently announced. So I think maybe we get Zeraora in Pokemon Go, and then we get the new Mega Zeraora as well. And this has happened before. Mega Deoncé, we all only got, I think, one encounter with Deoncé. So we only have one, and it can Mega Evolve, and it's a mythical. So Zeraora will probably see released in the same exact way as Deoncé. And it's probably going to be like a top 5 electric type, if not better, as like a normal Zeraora. And as a Mega, it's probably going to be the best electric type of all time. Maybe not of all time, but it's probably going to be very good. Because just regular Zeraora is a pure electric type with a max CP of 3,865. It's a big boy. But again, I think we're going to see it released in a very similar way to Keldeo or Zarude or Deoncé, where it's either going to be like a big mythical that you get during Go Fest by paying $5, $10 for the Masterwork Research event, or it's going to be a part of its own special research event where you pay $5 or $10. I think this is going to be a premium Pokemon. You're going to have to pay for it, but I do think we'll see it this year. I honestly think we'll see it during Go Fest. And then eventually, I think we'll see the Mega come out for it. And it's going to be a very, very useful, very cool mythical that I, once again, think we will all only get one single one of. Let me know in the comments, which Pokemon do you think we'll see in 2026? And check back in 1 year from now to see if I was right on any of these. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.